Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I want to look at the Psi-Man series. And this series was written by Peter David. Now, Peter David was born in 1956. David is more known for his extensive work in the comic book field and for his long run on the Incredible Hulk Marvel comic book. But he's also known for his novelizations and movie tie-ins, like the first Iron Man novel, and for writing novels for things like Star Trek. And there's an interesting scene in the final book in the series where the two kind of head secret agents are in a museum, and they see an image of, or the statue of the Starship Enterprise. And it's interesting because this was published. Let me have a look here. So this was published in 1990. So it's one of his first. It's called a Charter Diamond or Charter Book, and they're connected to Berkeley Publishing. And so well-read first book. It's called The Mind Force Warrior. So Psi-Man is a 6-book series of novels that he started back in 1990, as you saw from the copyright date. The first book gives us Psi-Man's origin. His real name is Chuck Psi-Man, the Psi-Man. And he and his dog Rommel are superheroes in the novel. And in the first book, in the opening scene, we are introduced to our main character who's working in a circus. He performs a dramatic rescue of one of the circus performers who is being attacked by lions. Then, as our opening scene, the rest of the story, we're told basically in flashbacks, where we meet Chuck Psi-Man, who's working as a gym teacher in a place called LaQuire, Ohio. And we learn that Psi-Man is a master of Tomiki Aikido. And Aikido plays, it's a martial arts series, so Aikido plays a major part in all of the novels, all 6 novels, which is showcased. You'll see it on the covers of each of the books and in the stories, as I said. More is revealed as we learn about this near future Earth. And all of the stories take place in near future. So the skies are gray, always gray. You don't see the sun. And so it's just like a scorched earth kind of series, almost post-apocalyptic, but more caused by pollution than anything else. Psi-Man is a fun series. Lots of graphic violence. And so we'll start. So that's the first book in the series. And here's the second book. It's called Deathscape. Just put that right beside here. And in the second book, the Psi-Man is leaving the complex. And the complex is like an ultra-secretive, overarching organization that supersedes or oversees all the intelligence organizations like the CIA, the FBI, and so on, and MI, military intelligence. It's called the Complex. If it sounds familiar or sounds kind of spooky, then that's where that's going. And he pals up with a woman named Dakota, who had appeared in the first novel. They are pursued by Chuck's and Rommel's enemy, a guy named Butel. who's introduced in the first novel, along with Quint, the kind of spy master and head guy of the complex. The ultra-violence continues as Chuck and Rommel encountered mutated animals like bears and rabbits who had become these ugly large beasts maddened by the radiation sludge that had spawned them. Chuck is, as in all the novels, and this plays prominently in the novels, is a Quaker and who doesn't believe in violence or killing, and so that becomes an issue in all of the novels, given the fact that there's a lot of violence in it and a lot of killing. And Peter David seems to have fun with the high moral standard and respect for life that seems to be incongruent with the psionic powers that our lead protagonist has. Without spoiling the story, the ending is satisfying, but a lot of mystifying relationships change. It seems to be a common thread in the novels about the relationships he has with women. Our hero, the Psi-Man, also changes in unique ways. There are also plenty of martial arts actions that's well written. It's surprisingly well written. The way he describes each scene. So just look through Deathscape to just look at the publication date and all that kind of stuff. So this is what the book looks like. And that was from 1991. And it's a Berkeley book, of course. It's a diamond, as they say. That's the logo. So that's that. That's number 2. Deathscape. Book 3 is this one. This is Main Street DOA, which I presume is Dead on Arrival. So one of the interesting things is in the novel, of course, is that he's often described as having a beard, but on the covers, it's what you see there. So in book 3, Chuck Psi-Man, are taken to Wonder World, where Simon meets Wyatt Wonder and his fantastical creation, Moby Duck. And Wyatt Wonder and Moby Duck sounds kind of familiar if you really think about it. All the illusions of fantasy where and this kind of scorched earth world and the alternate kind of fantasy world that is Wonder World is kind of a ecological kind of statement. So birds don't exist. The skies are never blue. So what Wyatt Wonder does is he creates this kind of domed world where you can actually hear birds and see birds. But if you really pay attention, it's kind of I don't know what you call it, a repetitive scene. So the Psi-Man's arch-villain, again, Butel, makes his appearance, along with the complex, Quint, who's still after the Psi-Man. Throughout the story, there's a thin thread, an overarching plot, where the Psi-Man and Rommel are looking for a place called Haven. The blood and guts graphic violence is continued, along with an action-packed conclusion to this adventure. There are surprises, with hints along the way. Each of the novels so far are have very separate settings, with its overall setting as a near post-apocalyptic world. So one of the interesting scenes in the novel is that he quotes Wonder World eventually takes over the company that owns this quote: "With great power comes great responsibility." So in that sense, you can guess where our our writer, Peter David, got his idea. So this is number 4. So that's Main Street DOA. And this is number 4 of the series. This is the Chaos Kid. And this one was published when? It's a paperback first edition. You can see there that it says Hal Steiner, Certified Master Trainer. And then you have a guy named Robin Rosenthal, self-defense consultant. So all of the martial arts moves are actually accurately described, as I said. So this is the 4th book in the series. It's The Chaos Kid. And it's a fascinating story. Characters from Main Street DOA show up. Mainly Rack 3000, that's the car. He continues on. Actually, in the next, he'll appear in the last novel. And Rack is a car that was invented by Wyatt Wonder, actually. So the Chaos Kid is a guy named Matthew Olivetti, a super-powered psionic who's confronted by our lead protagonists, Chuck Simon and Rommel. The cover does not portray how he looks in the story, like I said. In the story, he's described as being in disguise and having a beard. Without saying too much, the book is metaphorical, with the setting becoming the key element in the story. I can't say too much about that. The violence, when it happens, is very extreme and horrific. The book series maintains its suspense, the martial arts of Tamiki Aikido, and its Quaker sensibilities. Each of the novels thus far are uniquely different, very inventive. He's an excellent writer, Peter David. Especially, obviously, I've read mostly this series, but very original in style. Just each story is unique. This is the 5th book in the series. This is Stalker. And again, as you can see, the entire story takes place on a bullet train from beginning to end. So it makes it, and it's a bullet train that's moving at, in most of the story, at 200 miles per hour. Like I said, this is written in 1991, and it's near future SF. So, Stalker. Nice painted cover. The entire setting of this takes place on board a fast-moving bullet train. Along for the ride is a vicious psychopathic villain whose only name is Stalker. We learn more about how Chuck Simon came to be, and we learn more about the psionics. We meet characters who appeared in the previous novel and then become fully fleshed out in this story. This is a superior work of fiction, science fiction, which moves literally in an extremely fast pace with constant gore and violence, thanks to our lead antagonist, Stalker. This is one of the most violent of all the books, actually, in comparison. Simon comes up against a group called Spear, who are apparently another group of secret operatives. Their goal is to find the Psi-Man. By far the best novel in the series is this one so far. And this is the final book in the series. This is called Haven. And there is Psi-Man fighting against, you might have guessed, that's Butel. And here we have Chuck Simon is haunted, and haunted man, the ultimate weapon with a mind capable of inflicting total destruction. And this one was done in 1992. All right. It's called Haven. The final novel in the series takes us to Haven. The story begins when Rack 3000, the car, and Alex are driven to this area. And then a mysterious assailant saves the life of Alex from an attack by Russian secret agents. As it turns out, and this is kind of a mild spoiler, as it turns out, the mysterious assailant is our hero, Chuck Simon, the Psi-Man. The novel takes off from there, with Rommel and the Psi-Man discovering something of the history of the psionics, the mysterious mutations. Butel, Quint show up, and the novel ends with a cliffhanger, even though it's the last novel in the series. We are introduced to a number of fascinating characters. Like, his character development in each of the novels is amazing, actually. Peter David's an excellent writer. People like the magistrate, Quint, the obsessive head of the complex is back, and the Butel, the arch villain of the Psi-Man novels, is back, trying to wreak his revenge. The endings end in a cliffhanger, like I said. One of the telling things at the very end of the novel, this won't introduce any spoilers. At the very end of the novel, Chuck Simon is being picked up by a truck driver, and he introduces himself as Chuck Banner. And those of you who may be following, who followed the Incredible Hulk comic book over the years, know that Robert Bruce Banner, or as in the TV series, David Bruce Banner, is the name of the alter ego of the Incredible Hulk. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this look at an excellent series of books, beautiful science fiction stories written by a very good writer, David Peter, writing as Peter David is his name. That's his real name. The pseudo he uses here is David Peters. So I hope you enjoy this, and remember to give me the thumbs up. Thanks everyone for your subscriptions, and feel free to comment, share the video with your friends. All right, thanks. Bye.